Okay, guys, here's chapter 6 of the Great Sasquatch Escape. This chapter is titled Seahorse Face. While Grandpa Abe rattled around in the kitchen, Ben fed a piece of donut to Snooze the hamster. Then he opened the bedroom window. There was no screen, so he stuck out his head. It was late morning, and the sun streamed between his grandfather's house and the house next door. A little path was worn into the side yard between the houses. "Today is Friday," Grandpa Abe called. "Birthday day at the senior center." Ben leaned on the windowsill. Going to the senior center didn't sound like much fun. He could tell his grandfather that he had a stomach ache, or maybe he'd make up a better story. He had a medical condition that made him allergic to other people's birthday cakes. Then again, eating frosting might be better than hanging around the house, wondering what his friends back home were doing, wondering if his parents were going to stay together, wondering about that giant bird. Meow. A large black cat turned into the side yard and pranced up the path. His tail stuck straight up, and something swung from his mouth. The cat stopped beneath the window and stared up at Ben, his yellow eyes widening with surprise. He wiggled his bottom. "Oh no," Ben said. "You're not coming in here." But before he could close the window, the cat leaped into the sill, jumped onto the bed. Ben threw himself at the dresser, standing between the cat and the hamster cage. "Don't even think about it," he warned. "Go on, shoo." Ben waved his hands toward the open bedroom door. "Shoo." But the cat didn't shoo. His pitiful victim dangled from his smiling mouth. Snooze the hamster stopped eating the donut and scurried into his nest. The rustling sound caught the cat's attention. "Grandpa, can you please call your cat?" Ben hollered. "Here, Barnaby, 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 come get some yum-yums." The sound of a can opener was apparently more interesting than a hamster's rustling. With a leap, Barnaby soared through the air like a trapeze artist, landed gracefully in the doorway, then pranced into the kitchen. With a sigh of relief, Ben hurriedly shut the door. "And stay out," he grumbled. He was about to tell Snooze that he wouldn't let that bad kitty back into the bedroom when something squeaked. Ben leaned over his bed. There, in the middle of the quilt, lay Barnaby's victim. Only it wasn't dead. It wiggled and squeaked again. And then it shot a fountain of flame right at Ben's face. "Whoa," Ben cried, ducking as the flame whooshed over his head. As suddenly as the flame had appeared, it disappeared. Ben felt his face and hair to make sure nothing was on fire. Then a second flame shot upward, but this time it reached only a few feet off the bed. The flame disappeared, and the creature squeaked again. A third flame emerged, but it was weak, like a sparkler on the 4th of July. It fizzled and popped, extinguishing with a hissing sound. The little creature coughed. What just happened? How could... Ben's legs trembled. After a minute or two had passed and no more flames appeared, Ben knelt beside the bed. He wasn't about to touch it, whatever it was. The creature's body and wings were black, but one of the wings was torn. Was it a bat? Ben had seen photos of bats, so he knew they had all sorts of weird faces. Some looked like foxes, some looked like mice. There were dog-faced bats and monkey-faced bats. This one had a long snout, like a seahorse. He leaned closer and discovered a problem with his bat theory. Bats were mammals and covered with fur. This thing was covered with glossy scales. And of course, bats don't spout fire. As far as Ben knew, no animals spouted fire. No real animals. "Ben, your mother's on the phone," Grandpa Abe rapped on the door. "Be a good boy and come talk to your mother." "Okay." Ben didn't want to leave the creature, which coughed again and looked up at him with half-closed eyes. "I'll be right back," he whispered. He closed the bedroom door so the killer cat couldn't sneak back in, and he made sure to close the bedroom door, too. He didn't mention the bat to his grandfather, who was putting away groceries. "You can't keep a fire-breathing bat," he'd surely say. "It's too dangerous. It'll burn your ears off." "No need to tell him just yet. A fire-breathing bat was a pretty cool thing to find, and Ben wanted to spend a bit more time with it before he turned it over to an adult. "Hello," Ben said as he picked up the phone receiver. The phone was one of the old-fashioned kind that attached to the wall. "Hi, Benjamin," his mother chirped. "I just wanted to see how things were going. Is your grandfather feeding you?" "Yes." "Good. Be sure to help him carry things, and be sure to help him with the chores around the house. He's getting old. And be sure to keep your room clean, and be sure to brush your teeth, and be sure to—" She paused. "Oh, just have fun. I want you to have lots and lots of fun." "I will," Ben said, his gaze fixed on his bedroom door. "You're not still mad that we sent you there, are you?" Silence filled the line. If asked that question 5 minutes ago, Ben would have told his mother that yes, he was really mad that she'd sent him to stay in a boring town in the middle of nowhere with a grandfather he barely knew. But with a fire-breathing bat lying on his bed, well, that changed everything. "I'm not mad," Ben said. Barnaby the cat pawed at the bedroom door. Then he pressed his barrel-shaped body against the wood, a low growl vibrating as he pushed, trying to get in. I gotta go, but don't worry so much, Mom. I'm fine." "Okay, sweetie. Your father and I just want you to know that we love you." "I love you too. Bye." Ben hung up. "Shoo," he said, waving his hands. "Shoo." The cat flicked his tail, then moseyed over to his water bowl. Ben cracked open the door and peered into the bedroom. The little creature lay in the exact same spot on the bed, licking its injured wing. "Grandpa Abe, are there any animal doctors in Buttonville?" "Apparently we have a worm doctor," Grandpa Abe said as they set a bag of potato chips in the cupboard. "This we need? A worm doctor?" "Yeah, but are there any other doctors? Ben searched his brain for the word. "A veterinarian." He tried to keep his voice from trembling with excitement. "Just in case my hamster gets sick or something like that, not for any other reason." Grandpa Abe shook his head. "We should be so lucky to have a veterinarian in Buttonville. The nearest one's a 4-hour drive. Took Barnaby there a few months back when he got a bellyache from eating too many mice. That cat loves mice." Barnaby wound between Ben's ankles, rubbing his cheeks against Ben's jeans. "I'm going to finish unpacking," Ben told his grandfather. He didn't want to seem to be rude, so he added, "And I'm going to keep the door closed so Barnaby doesn't get in and eat my hamster." "Okay by me," Grandpa Abe said. He leaned across the counter and turned on the radio. Music from days gone by filled the kitchen. Grandpa Abe tapped his foot and hummed along to the swinging rhythm. With the bedroom door shut tight, Ben knelt beside the bed. The creature's eyes were closed. Its little chest rose and fell in quick breaths. A wheezy sound came out of its snout. Ben frowned. The nearest veterinarian was 4 hours away. Grandpa Abe would have to drive there, but that would mean telling him about the fire-breathing bat. The little creature suddenly rolled over. Was that a tail? Ben reached out cautiously, smoothing the quilt so he could get a better look. It was a tail, a long, barbed tail. He sat back on his heels, a huge grin spreading across his face. His whole body tingled. Bats didn't have barbed tails. Bats didn't have scales. Bats didn't breathe fire. As impossible as it seemed, Ben knew what lay on his bed. That's the end of chapter 6. We'll continue some more tomorrow, okay? Love you guys very much. Good night.